Hello, this is Frank Shines. I'm the author of AI or Die. We're going to talk about AI or Die, the book from cavemen to AI agents, and AI agents are all the rage these days. I'd like to also have my nephew introduce himself.
Hey, I'm AJ, and it's my uncle, man. Just learning, and it's my mentor. It's getting me up to speed and learning a lot.
So he is a sleep expert, and we're going to be talking about a lot of things he's learned just in the last couple of years using ChatGPT. And obviously, the whole world has been learning it over the last 2 years. So first of all, we're going to break this down, right? We're going to share with you guys the stuff that we've learned about ChatGPT over the last couple of years. And what's really surprised us the most is how fast it's moved and how much we benefited from it, and already how much we're seeing friends, families, business clients who are falling behind. So we don't want that to be you. We'll give you some ideas around basic prompts and how that type of stuff works in terms of prompting with text like ChatGPT or on Midjourney to get images done. And then we're going to get into AI agents. But before that, we'll give you a quick overview of the book. All right. So let's jump right into this. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, there we go. So AI or Die, the caveman's visual guide to AI for everyone. So visualize AI and solve business problems or non-business problems, right, that matter. That's what this book is all about. And what you're seeing here, this is the caveman obviously represents the fact that, I guess you can think about the Geico commercial, so easy a caveman can do it. Well, AI is kind of like that in terms of it's all about just patterns. And since cavemen times, we've understood patterns. We've seen the stars in the sky. We've seen the migration of birds. We've seen how the tide goes in, tide goes out, how long it takes for the sun to traverse across the skies. We've seen tracks of deers in the mud, right? So all these patterns is essentially what's now been taken out of our heads and put into symbols, symbols being all the text and everything we've ever written throughout humanity, and put in these new big AI models like ChatGPT. That's essentially what artificial intelligence today is really all about. It's just recognizing patterns. And there are three phases. The first phase is predictive AI. That's the old machine learning stuff that you probably heard, in school where they talk about polynomials and regression, maybe equations and things like that. That's basically AI. Remember that bell-shaped curve? That's the fundamentals of AI. Then second phase, what's known as generative AI. That's all the stuff we've seen in the last 2 years. Generative AI is where we can generate text and videos and all that type of thing, and pictures, images. And now we're moving into what's known as, we call it agentic active AI, meaning it's going to be digital agents and active robots and other things in the real world doing real work. All right. So that's a quick overview. Interrupt me at any time if you think of anything here, AJ, but wanted to let you guys know that we've been lucky to have the forward by Raina Flora Okori, four-time Olympian, great friend of the family. And speaking of the family, we opened the book with a dedication to my great grandfather, uh, Katie Stroud. He was raised on a Texas plantation until the age of 19, but he became a polymath, meaning he was like kind of a Renaissance man, like a Da Vinci. Literally, he ended up teaching himself. He ended up helping build Langston University, um, attending the school, studying education, then he went on to study theology, became a reverend, studied under an attorney, learned law, became a delegate to the Indian Territory, and had a direct impact on the Constitution of Oklahoma. But seeing what was going to happen with Oklahoma, and he knew the importance of education, he said that he needs to move his family out of Oklahoma. And the reason for that was Oklahoma, once it got statehood, that meant all the discrimination, all of the Jim Crow laws, and segregation, in which kids could not go to the same schools, black kids could not go to the same school, white kids. So he went to Colorado Springs, where there was no segregation in the public school systems. He educated his children so well, one being my grandfather, Tandy, that it was kind of like the AI of their age. KD was like an AI algorithm, right? He passed on all this knowledge to his kids, and they all did exceptionally well. They became known as Remarkable 11. And as a result, they're all over the Colorado Springs Pioneers Museum. Colorado College, the newspapers and so forth, and they had a direct impact with uh, uh, President Roosevelt's wife, Eleanor Roosevelt, as well as W.E. Du Bois. And so there's just a lot of rich history around that. So we dedicate the book to him. And like we said, we're not going to use a lot of symbols and graphs and math. We're going to use images. So the book, as you'll go through it, you'll see just a lot of pictures. Even though it's over 250 pages long, we just show a lot of pictures, a lot of simple graphs. For example, this one I think is important to all of you. How much money can you make, right? We talk about that right up front. So many of these jobs, you can make 120 to 130K, some as low as 60 or 50K if you're just getting started, but still not a bad way to start, right? Okay, so let's go ahead. I'll thumb through this at different points, but let's go ahead and talk about what have we seen over the last couple of years since this thing took off. AJ.
Um, Most recently, I've seen the images, the
Right.
the way it transformed. It used to have like messed up fingers and the teeth were messed up. You could see, you could you could really pinpoint and point out like, okay, that was AI generated. Now, with Google's Whisk, things like that, like
Right.
you can generate images that are really high quality. You can change them on the fly. It's really really powerful.
So
So
you
I've
guys
seen
can
that.
see here, I'm going all the way back in time to August 2023, just to get where AJ's coming from here, right? You see, and it's going to take a minute for just for those images to come up because we're looking at a lot of literally thousands of images. But you can see these older images, and then you'll see how over time they changed and they got better. But that's what AJ's talking about. And we'll take a look at like ideogram by comparison. We'll look at the old stuff and new stuff. And like with ideogram, you can immediately see these new creations. And the other thing is, remember, you couldn't write words, right?
Couldn't
All the
write
words were all
words.
screwed up. You couldn't have things spelled correctly. And now we're doing it, hola, buenos dias, right? So now you can do it in multiple languages and things like that. And the writing, the spelling, and everything is just
Yeah,
so much better.
it's going into things like Canva. Like you can literally click and edit the words and
Right.
fix things. We couldn't do that with trying to generate a something as simple as like a logo, and it would spell your words wrong or get the image right, but you couldn't do this or you couldn't do that. So yeah,
Right. Yeah,
a lot of
exactly.
these tools have been implemented into the systems that we're already
Yeah.
using a lot.
So these are just some older images, and today there's just so much better, right? I mean, just looking going back and just even some of the graphics, look how funky and bad these things are, right? Versus where we are today, and I still didn't get it all to go all the way back to August of 2023, but it's bad enough just from there. So I'll just refresh that and let it go to the very beginning of it, and you'll see some of the things we've been doing more recently. Okay, so the images. Now everybody talks about ChatGPT. Um, so like, what are the things that you do with it
So I it's like probably the most used app. This is the best $20 that I've spent in.
per month?
Yeah, yeah, per month, like the return on investment. Um, it just
So let's do something. So like, let's say what is AI versus ML versus DL, right? And that's artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning, right? They're just all different types of AI stuff, right? But here it goes. It's just going out. They're interrelated concepts in the field of computer science, but they differ in scope, focus, and complexity, right? And it's immediately telling you kind of examples. Overarching is artificial intelligence, so it encompasses everything that mimics human intelligence, right? And then machine learning is a subset of AI, and that is where you're focused on learning from data, right? So that's why we had this whole period of data. And then deep learning, this is what's been happening more recently. In ChatGPT is one of the transformers, is one of the deep learning algorithms that we've seen recently, right? And it's a subset of machine learning. So, right. So just amazing the things you can just quickly do with these tools and so forth.
so here's something that I do all the time. Like this is complex, but I always like to say like, hey, I like to learn with like examples or metaphors or things like that, and I just say, hey, I don't know anything about this stuff. Can you just break it down in like simple language with like an analogy?
So let's do this. Let's say repeat in layman's terms.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say this. Now I'm going to do something else at the same time. I'm going to copy this. Let's just do this, right? So repeat that in layman's terms. So while that's running, we're going to go over here to Claude. Yeah, right. And okay, so ChatGPT now before it had a bunch of stuff. Now it's basically it's like the umbrella, right? Machine learning. And by the way, what it's doing is we've done a lot of editing and done a lot of writing the book and editing the parts of the book here, and it's grabbing even things from my ChatGPT session and using things from the book, right? In fact, if I said, how would AI or die book explain this? And can you use a graphic? Right now, ChatGPT usually doesn't do graphics as well. So that's why I also opened up Claude. So if I go back here to this question, right, and do the same thing in Claude, and I say, make a graphic so anyone can understand. Okay, so let's go back to ChatGPT for just a moment here, and let's see what response we got. So here it is. It looked at what we were talking about, and here's what it did. It said, okay, based upon AI or die, here's how you guys explained it, and then it created a graphic that isn't quite exactly like the one in our book, but it's close, right? AI is the big goal. Machine learning is in between, learning from data, and then deep learning is advanced type learning, right? So it kind of simplified it very quickly this way. One's like a survival, uh, one's like a map, and one's like a tracker. So it's just saying get lower and lower. Now look at Claude. We'll do the same thing with Claude, right? Now it's going to go through, it's going to create code, and it's going to use that code to create the visual, right? So it's creating a circle, it's creating the size and the coordinates of the circle, right? And boom, there it goes. Artificial intelligence, systems that can mimic human intelligence, machine learning, systems that learn from data, examples, recommendation systems, spam filters, deep learning, neural networks with many layers, examples, image recognition, and chat GPT, right? So it's just phenomenal what you can do with these tools. And you can see the difference in personalities between the two different systems as well. What else do you think?
No, this is how I this is how I break complex things that I'm trying to learn and that I know I need to learn but have no expertise in. I break them down into simple, give me the big picture. Okay, cool. I grasp that. Now let's break it down into subsets, and then I break it down from there, and then I can give myself my own coursework.
Right. Yeah, that's great. And so in this particular case, what I've done is these are like going back 2 years, right, of data. You can see these are some images that we even brought in for the book. This is our dog Ace, right? Other images and things like we're working on some musical things with uh, Mozart and Dvorak. Uh, these are the ways you can create branding with special colors and approaches, look and feel, right? So just amazing amount of things that you can do with this. This is bringing some old images of our family members and just playing around with this. This is for a client where we created custom branding images for them for all of the training presentation information, right? So it's just phenomenal the types of things you can do with it. Okay, I think we've given them a little bit of idea of the prompt and about some of the benefits and things that we've already been able to see from it. Literally, my productivity has just gone off the charts in terms of productivity and creativity, right? And give you an example of that here in the book, we have a whole section on creative tools and problem solving tools that anyone can use. And one example here, right, is where we are doing all of this creative work with an opera and with music, 4 different songs that are related to this documentary, as well as the documentary. And so here you can see right here all the different tools and things that can help you improve your productivity, right? An example of basic prompt best practices, prompt engineering best practices types of things. Then like how would you make a video go viral? We did a thing where we took a bunch of these screenshots and put them in and ran it through the algorithms with ChatGPT and with Claude. Claude did the best job and helped us predict how to make videos go viral, right? And then we had here Say, get down, right? This is where we said, how do you, improve your creativity? And so we've got examples where we're working with coloring books, with Race the Opera, but I'll just show the images very quickly, right? So this is bringing my grandmother's original picture out of the Colorado Springs Pioneers Museum to life in new ways, right? Using different types of visual styles. I used to do art. And then same thing so that's the original family picture there. But we then took some of the ideas that we had. Here we go. There. Okay. So for the dog, for race, for Ace the dog, and you'll see some examples exactly how we use this. I won't give it away. Um, and then there's that example of the corporate branding. And then this is the coloring books, right? So making coloring books for children. And then this is something that AJ mentioned a minute ago, Whisk. This is one of the hottest. When I first started playing around with Chat GPT, and because this guy Chat GPT has image creation, but it's not great. So Midjourney and Ideogram have gotten better, but I've always wondered why didn't they give you like a subject and a style. Well, Google did an experimental thing called Whisk, and they gave you a subject, a scene, and the style. So here, what you can see is I bring in this is my grandfather in the 1920s with his brother running for the 1928 Olympics, training for that. And then here's an image of the actual newspaper back then. And we brought these things together, and it was able to create the scene, right? Taking us back in time, it's late 1920s of them running in Denver, right? So these are the things that you can do, like from a creative perspective. And then he met Joey Ray at the 1928 Olympic trials after walking 2,000 miles cross country because of his race. They wouldn't give him the transportation, right? They're not going to let him sit on the bus with white kids at that time. So he hitchhiked and walked and ran 2,000 miles from Colorado Springs to Boston. And he met Joey Ray, who's like the top runner of the time. After he ran, he collapsed. He wasn't able to finish the race because malnutrition. He's malnourished and hunger. And then this is my great aunt Bobby, and she was like the musical prodigy of the family, and she worked in the Colorado Springs Fine Arts Center and the Broadboard, training all the rich kids and all that kind of stuff. So that's how we show creativity. This is the opera. This is João Rocha that we're working with, and we've been doing things with this really cool tools like Ava and a couple of others to look at compositions for the opera in different ways. So just some really cool stuff. And then finally, this is the one that I really kind of enjoy, is we are recreating different type of Mozart and Dvorak operas. Like, you've heard about Don Giovanni by Mozart, one of his famous operas. So we're using AI plus some really great people down in Brazil to help do this. But then what we've done is we've taken K.D. Stroud, and this is Anthem of Heaven that he wrote right in 1900. It was this idea in his head coming out of the issues he was facing down on the plantation in Texas. And he wrote this thing called Anthem of Heaven. So this is now part of the opera, and we've taken the same kind of composition to show KD now alive today, right? And, obviously he's not alive today, but bringing him into a modern era. So there's so many powerful things you can do with these tools. I know we've gone a little bit longer maybe than we expected, but we wanted to at least give you guys a sense of what AI or Die, the book, is all about. And I think you guys will get a lot of value from it. We will put in the show notes the link to the AI or Die, the free book excerpt, right? Just log in, give your email, and you get it for free. And we're gonna give you 70 pages of the book, right, for free. So just jump jump in there and help yourself. Finally, AI agents, the topic of AI agents. So what are you learning, AJ, about AI agents?
I got a lot. I know that I got a lot more to learn. It's just getting up to speed with everything with just the large language models, and now being able to take that and then attach a large language model with actions to go out and execute tasks and get things done. Now it's like taking everything that we've been learning and experimenting with, and then now taking it and applying it in real world situations and getting things done and understanding how to connect all of these things. That is, I guess that's that's where the true power is going to come, just being able to automate all of these things and then just focus your attention and your time in the areas that matter most and move the needle. So just understanding how this all connects and understanding that this can work and seeing it in action is mind blowing.
Yeah, no, I'm hearing you. It's like this is one example. This is Anthropic. Anthropic is the Claude AI thing we showed you guys just a moment ago, where it did that, the graphics and stuff really fast, the AI ML DL stuff. So this is what they think about in terms of agents, right? They call it both workflows and agents. So you may have some sort of input, and you have an agent that's an orchestrator agent. So this orchestrator agent may, let's suppose you're doing like data analysis or something. So it's going to go grab all your Shopify data, grab all your Google Analytics data, mash it all up, and do the data analysis, synthesize it all, and give you a report, right? But any of these things, right? You can think about any steps and just think of all the, I do this and I do this, and I do this, and I have to bring it all together and do this, right? This is the whole idea of AI agents. So these are no longer just bots sitting, on a desktop. These are like things that are going out there doing real work. Here's an example of this guy. He created one for SQL queries. Like everybody, when you want to pull data from a computer system, a database, you have to use these SQL queries. And nobody wants to learn these darn things. They're just, complicated and stuff for a lot of folks. So he created this bot that'll do that for you. So it'll essentially, okay, you just put your question in. I want this thing to check this data. Take the large language model. It's going to convert it to the database, looking at the database schema, create a query for you, run the query, and then send it back to you in natural language, right? This is where everything is going. So listen, everyone, this has been Frank Shines and AJ Decode, AI or Die. By the way, AJ is listed in the book, so you guys got to check out the book and find out what AJ does in his book. But it's pretty interesting and exciting around his sleep expertise. So thanks everybody for your day.
Thank
Anything
you.
else?
No, that's it.
All right. Thanks everybody. You guys have a great day. And again, look for the show notes at the bottom. We'll have AI or Die, how to connect and get your free access to this 70-page excerpt, all free. Thank you. Bye.